Hey, are you ready for our bullish talk show? We got guests for days, all queuing in a row. The biggest names in the DeFi space. Black, white, and yellow, guests from every race. So hands off your dick, it's now you're in luck. We're talking crypto daily with a big old Doug. Big Duck Energy, let's make backs fast. Come chill with us here on the Pondcast.
Yo, what's going on, you mother duckers? Welcome to another week's Pondcast here with Easy Zabo, speaker for the Doug the Duck Project. We've got another excited week here again today with once again, following with our trend with some of the best and most amazing influencers here within the crypto space. This week, a little bit different. Normally, we just have one speaker here today. But today we have just Crypto Ken as well as Artemis, which are two frequent influencers here in the crypto space that do crypto meme spaces on Twitter together. So we thought it would be fitting to have both of these fine gentlemen up here today to speak on the podcast together. So Crypto Ken, Artemis, nice to have you guys here today.
Hey, Ken, hey, man, look, first of all, if you can hear me, great. This is like the 7th time in the last maybe 4 hours I've heard me being an amazing influencer, an expert of sorts or something like that. I'm going to go ahead and say that is not the case, but I'm glad to be here and I'm glad to be a proud duck because I am not that.
Well, you are a very humble mother ducker, and we appreciate that. But everybody here listening to the space knows you're an absolute chat, man. So happy to have you here. Crypto Ken, what's going on, man?
Oh, nothing much. Yeah, happy to be here. And yeah, I kind of share the same sentiment with Artemis. I like to have a running joke saying I'm not a KOL, I'm not an influencer, I'm just Ken, hence the name. But yeah, the point from Artemis was a little bit funny. I know he's been hearing that. Even some people were saying it on the spaces last week and makes him very, very uncomfortable. So please keep saying it.
Well, cue the Barbie music. I'm just Ken.
I actually have a good pickup line for that. You know, I used to say it when I was a kid, and I'd say, "Hi, I'm Ken. Would you like to be my Barbie?" So you know, it does work too. I'm just saying.
Oh, did that get you some ducktail back in the day, or what?
Yeah, back in elementary school, you know.
Oh, the best. Well, it's we're really excited to have you out here today, and honestly, a lot of the speakers that we come on here and have on here are humble, just like you two individuals and stuff. And while you might think that you're not necessarily influencers in the space, I know specifically that a lot of people look up to you guys. I think anytime you're in a position of power where people are looking up to you, you have that aspect of influence, and you know that's I don't think that's anything to necessarily be disappointed about or to be ashamed or embarrassed about. I think people look up to you, and that's a good thing in this crypto space, especially when you finally find some people that you can trust.
Yeah, look, I think Ken is legitimately being humble. When I say that, I'm being partly factual, and I know we're going to get into it and everything like that, but I actually am, in terms of like the technical knowledge, I don't know if you guys, you know, listening ever come to a spaces with me and Ken, but I constantly say this when it comes to the technical aspects of crypto, right? Just the whole entire aspect of finance, you know, Web3 in general, coding, all that kind of jazz. I really don't know what the fuck I'm talking about sometimes, what the duck I'm talking about sometimes. And the description on YouTube actually did a great job describing me, which I know said self-proclaimed because I did proclaim it. Storytelling is storytelling, and that's where I like to dabble. Any place that has humans is where I kind of dabble. So that's kind of where I would say, sure, I might be an expert of some sorts because I genuinely love humans and kind of messing around with the psyche and just seeing how people work. Ken, on the other hand, is being humble, Zabo. He's legitimately being humble. He is legitimately a star in this space. Maybe not in terms of numbers compared to all the people who have millions and millions of this, but in terms of his expertise and legitimate knowledge, he is actually that guy. He's being humble. He's just Ken. I'm just kind of departed.
Well, Ken, I think that's a good intro into, you know, giving you an opportunity to speak a little bit more about yourself. You know, big thing in these crypto spaces is we always like to hear where people have come from, what their entry into crypto is, and kind of how they got into the position of, you know, influencing and being a major factor on the crypto spaces. So maybe start and tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, I had stock trading experience and, all the buzz of crypto, obviously, in the last bull cycle kind of started to heat up, started to pull me into it. My cousin was in the crypto space and he was telling me a couple of different tickers to get into. Luckily, when I got into crypto, it was about July 2021. If people remember back in that time, that was about the end of the COVID dump. And that was right before Bitcoin went to the next all-time high of 69,000. Really high DeFi market time between BSC and ETH, tons and tons of volume. And that was kind of my introduction into crypto. For me personally, I'm a mechanically minded person, so I like to know what something does, not just, why it's there, but, what exactly is the purpose? What problems is it solving? How exactly does it work? So I dove pretty deep into the technical side of it, launched a few projects of my own throughout the last few years, and have just continued to try to, build up my name to an extent. Spaces is something I like just because I like to speak. So, I started doing spaces with a couple different people, started doing mine, and everything kind of just came together, I guess I would say. I don't really consider myself as an influencer because our spaces are free. We mostly just do these things to help promote people that, kind of came from my shoes, same kind of thing, where they have the work ethic, they have the drive and ambition, but maybe need a little bit of extra awareness on their project. So the main thing for me is just trying to find other like-minded, good people in the space and trying to help support them.
Beautiful, man. So we've got the surgeon and the degen in here. Crypto Ken being the surgeon, Artemis being the degen. So Artemis, tell me, how did you get into the crypto space?
Oh boy. Okay. So I think I should probably start around 2021. So this is obviously year coming out of COVID, etc. And I'm not going to give like a 700-page document, psychoanalysis of what my situation was coming out of COVID, before COVID, and then post-COVID, and kind of what led me over here. But I have a friend, he's basically like my brother, and he was always entrepreneurial in a sense, right? And what's funny was I wouldn't say cut off contact, but I wasn't talking to a lot of people around the time of 2020, 2021, not because I didn't want to. And of course, you may have a Snapchat or a text here and there, but in the sense of I just wasn't really going out. So when I first linked back up with him, he was living with another friend of mine, and I go over to their space, to their house. I was about to say space. And, I see him on the computer like the whole entire time. And I'm like, I wonder what he's doing. He's like, yeah, no, this is crypto. I am making it big in SHIB right now. He was up 7 figures on SHIB. And I was like, Jesus Christ, what is actually going on over here? Now, the thing was this. I actually didn't know that there was a thing really regarding memes at the time. So what he told me to do was, he was like, look, I know you're a storyteller. I know you like the psyche. I know you like people. So what I want you to do is hop into telegrams and just go analyze people. Just go see what drives community forward. Go see how people interact with each other on a daily basis. Report back to me. So what I was essentially doing was reading white papers, for utility tokens, and going to those telegrams and, just kind of having fun with them and all that kind of jazz. And then eventually I kind of started picking up on stuff to the point where I could kind of somewhat talk about it, but I didn't really get into crypto. And then that leads me to when I actually did, which was the end of last year. I made my first couple wallets, MetaMask, Phantom, Bonk, and I actually started trading meme coins. I started tracking whales or whatever. But the real catapult of Artemis that you see right now, I think it came on around late January or February, where I hopped into a spaces and they were like, hey, anybody want to come up and talk? And since it was a coin that was based off of nostalgia, something that I can actually talk about from memory, I just monologued for a straight 20, 30 minutes. And the people that were hosting that space, they were like, yo, who's this guy? Whatever. I like the way he's speaking. So, they kind of just took me under their wing. And at that point, I just started learning from them. I started doing some things here and there. And then I actually met Ken shortly after that. So my journey is fairly recent. I haven't been in this game for even more than a year at this point. So, you're looking at a kitten who's just now becoming a toddler.
Your story, both your guys' stories is a lot like mine. So in 2021, I was just starting to get into crypto. I felt like I missed the big wave, if you will. I was buying Solana at $200 a pop, finally break even on my first purchase here this week. I understood that cryptocurrencies go through cycles. And from those cycles understanding, I made sure to accumulate as much as I could on the bottom before this cycle, and really didn't start getting into memes until I really jumped into the Solana meme space and rode a couple 100x's up with Myro, with Popcat as well, and Bonk. So as I started to, I guess, kind of like, make some good money on Solana memes, I started kind of like reaching out and getting a little bit more and more into crypto Twitter, because I realized that, that's probably the best place to continue to find these good projects. And like you said, Artemis, I really have only been kind of within the, we say influencer space because it's such a catch-all kind of word, but I really have only been like in the speaker space and getting into the limelight, so to speak, for really just about the past year, same as you, man, is when this meme coin craziness really started. And I think the meme coin craziness is a little bit indicative of what's happening this cycle. Like, memes were okay last cycle, but really towards the end of the cycle, other than just typical crypto coin movement, everybody was raging about NFTs, and now I think we're definitely a part of the front mover group that realizes that like memes are the NFTs of this cycle.
Yeah, I actually saw a comparison of that, or I guess I should say heard a comparison of that. I was listening to a space yesterday, and they were kind of talking about the fact of, a lot of people get into crypto and listen to Artemis's story, for example, because their friend hit it big on Shiv or Doge, etc. And they told them about it, and they're like, oh, I can make, big money, quick money. I should probably try it out. And in last cycle, you were able to make that big money. I mean, you think of BNB, for example. BNB went from $30 to over $400 in about a month and a half, 2 months. So you were able to make, those kinds of gains just from holding, bigger market capitalization tokens. Where now that of course, there's still volatility in the space. Of course, there's bigger swings than traditional markets. But if you're really looking at it and the people that are trying to make those big gains, Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc., don't have the massive swings that they had, far, far back. Nowadays, if you see a 10% move in a day, it's very, very big. Most of the time, you're only getting 3 to 5% movement, if that. And so a lot of the quick money has been taken out of the bigger currencies. And I think that that's where meme coins have came in. And meme coins have become that separate asset class that, even if Bitcoin's only going to be moving 3, 5, 10, 12%, you could still find 10,000% on a meme coin.
Agreed. And I mean, if, we've seen historically over the last couple of years, the gains that you see annually out of the top 10 crypto coin market caps have gone from being in the 1,000 to 2,000% range down to the 400 to 800% range in a cycle, which is still good when you compare it to traditional finance, but it doesn't. But after you start getting into the memes and you start seeing 400,000% swings in a span of a week, it kind of starts to, I guess, desensitize you to the major crypto caps. And of course, those are now probably never going to move like they once used to, considering they're worth billions upon billions of dollars right now. But I do think that we might still be shocked within this cycle, especially after Donald Trump got elected, and of course, within 24 to 48 hours of him getting elected, he comes through on his promise of announcing that he is going to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve, one in which the U.S. does not plan to sell Bitcoin for at least 20 years. Wondering if you guys saw the news on that and what you think of that.
I'm going to redirect this right to Ken.
Yeah, obviously that is quite interesting. And, looking at it, you can look at the polls and obviously knowing that polls are never really going to paint a proper picture for you. But you can still look at that and see that even in more of a, I guess I'll say leftist driven media that we have nowadays, you can see most people still would say that they trusted Trump more when it comes to the economy. And obviously people know that his history of being president last time, seeing what happened with Bitcoin, stock market, etc. People feel very good about investing in a Trump economy. And to be able to give some credence to that, I'm not sure how much you correlate stock market and pay attention to the stock market, but the Dow, for example, day after Trump gets elected, the Dow, for example, went up 4%, pretty much only up, and pretty much looked like Bitcoin for a day, where, typically Dow's moving 1.5 to maybe 2.5% in a day. Actually just shot straight up for about 4% the day after he won the election. So being able to see that the trust that people have and the belief that people have is what is going to drive that price up. If they believe it's going to 150,000, it's probably going to go there because people aren't going to be selling at 70, 80, 90K.
Sure. And obviously, I do pay a lot to the stock market. You could just really get this sense over the last couple of weeks that people were really starting to price it in, not just within cryptocurrency, but like you said, within the stock market. Like we've seen, Tesla was in essentially this downtrend dating back to all the way really back to about 2022. And as it started to become more and more clear that Donald Trump was going to win and Elon Musk was kind of like right behind him, like we're seeing Tesla get back to close to those all-time high scenarios. Tesla is up something like 7 or 8% right now to 320 and is just absolutely burning shorts right now. So I definitely think that I agree with you that the comfortability that people got from 2016 to 2020 of understanding, that like we were in a thriving economy, that's taking a lot of money that's been positioning into the sidelines for the last 2 years, and that money is coming back. And we're probably not going to see that just on the stock side. We're probably going to see a lot of that on the cryptocurrency side.
Yeah, and the craziest thing is that, we're still on pace to have up to 6 rate cuts next year. So when you're really looking at, I know I tend to say this a lot, but the investor landscape is what I like to call it. If you really look at it, it's not a very positive landscape, yet you have S&P at all-time high, you have the Dow at all-time high, Bitcoin at all-time high, NASDAQ close. Looking at where we are and what is still to come, I think it's pretty easy to see how parabolic things can go next year.
I agree, man. And, some of the crazy things that we've been seeing within Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is like, I feel like the market started pricing in the Trump win last week because, we were seeing daily inflows last week of about anywhere from 800 to 900,000 or 800 to 900 million dollars worth of money that was coming in from the Bitcoin ETFs. And
I think it was 2.3 trillion into the stock market the day after he was elected. Yeah. So if you remember all the way back to the Trump-Biden debate, when they could tell that Biden was falling off and Trump demolished in that debate, if you go back and you correlate the time, you'll see that it was also priced into the market then.
Yeah. Not only that, but also I think what's amazing is just we're still waiting for inflow numbers from yesterday to come in. But Tuesday after Wednesday after Trump's election, we saw $1.36 billion worth of inflow come in from all of these ETFs. They now have approximately over $50 billion in Bitcoin amongst Grayscale, iShares, all things considering. So, it has been this resurgence that we've seen out of Trump getting elected has been absolutely monumental.
For
Dude,
sure. And I forget the number. MicroStrategy raised more money to buy more Bitcoin as well.
Yeah, you're seeing the miners go up. Coinbase stock is going back to all-time highs. I don't mean to cut you off, Artemis, but you were going to say something as well.
No, I was just saying, dude, I'm so used to spaces that you guys are over here talking and you're getting me tingly. So I'm like looking for the heart and the thumbs up to put every single time because I've been looking, man, this whole entire time. And trust me, Zab, please cut me off if you will. Which, by the way, Zabo, random note, but do you know how long I've been waiting to speak with you? after all the things that I hear, you're like a demigod in the duck community. They're always talking about you. So this is actually pretty funny. So please, keep it casual with me. You can call me a coward if you want. But regardless, the point is, it is really nice hearing all this. And all I can think about when you guys speak about this is that feeling that so many people experienced in the last cycle, that bull run that I have not yet experienced. And I feel like all these circumstances are just pushing it that much more, vigorously. It feels more violent right now, in the best sense possible. So I'm really excited just to see where we go.
I mean, I agree with you too, man. I'm very humbled by the duck community. Those mother duckers are constantly working for their bag. It has been an absolute shock to me how well Doug the Duck as a community and as a cryptocurrency has survived over the last 5 to 6 months. Typically you don't see meme coins balance out around a $1 million market cap, $3 million market cap. Like when they go through a spike and they start to dump, the community starts to run for the hills and everybody ditches out on the project. But I could just tell really quickly from the artistry on this project. I was an early investor. I didn't get alpha. I wasn't a part of the original whitelist or buy list. I bought into the coin when I saw it launch because I thought the artistry was great and the meme coin was great and the community was awesome. And after their spike to 6 million and then dropped down to 1 million, I started hearing them on Spaces, and I was like, you know what? I really enjoy listening to you guys. I would love to speak to your project. So, my entry into the duck, group and everything was very organic in that sense that I came searching for them and I applied to them and said, like, I want to be your guys' speaker because I believe in what you guys are doing. And, that was 5 or 6 months ago. And I continue to watch this team work their bag off every single day, from the original developers, the original artists, the original marketing group. There's so many things that they have done over the last 5 to 6 months to continue to keep this community engaged. And, to hold that $1 million floor and get up to 3 million. And we're holding 3 million strong after a couple people were selling the top around $4 million market cap. I think those people are going to really be kicking themselves because I think they're missing out on the potential that is Doug the Duck and, how this project has been operating differently. How did you guys originally hear about Doug?
Oh boy, this is actually really funny because what you were saying right now made me think of maybe 7 different things that I would actually even like to talk about regarding Doug. But obviously, I'm going to try to keep my mind not as scatterbrained as it usually is. But for me, Doug was actually told to me by a friend very, very early, like very, very early. I believe within maybe the first week or so. And, I was like, okay, cool. Because again, you got to remember, I'm just now getting into memes to an extent while Doug is kind of starting to surface. So no pun intended. No pond intended. So the point was, I was just looking for a second home. That's what I always tell people. Even though I was early, I was so shocked at how fickle the space was, of how memes just simply come and went, just how often they died. And as someone who really, really feels attached to certain things, I know people say that all the time, don't get too attached, don't get too emotional. Well, the truth is this, that's never going to be the case for me. You can try all day long, but I am a man that is driven by my fear and passion. I am a man who will try to find any type of nuance I can and latch onto it, no matter what. It could be that the team doesn't execute shit, but I may fall in love with just one little teeny detail of the art and it makes me want to stay. And then next thing you know, I'm going to try to do the best I can to try to be involved and keep things alive. Now, obviously, this wasn't the case at all with Doug. The second I came in, it was guns blazing. And it's crazy to say this because I've been saying it on Ken Spaces the whole entire time. I have never in my life seen a community like Doug. I speak and go in there in their VC damn near every day. I took a little hiatus recently, but that's neither here nor there. And the comfortability I have over there where I can be, I can deflect, I can project, I can be an asshole, I can be lovely, whatever the case might be. Those guys know me. In fact, Ken was just literally in there with me and Giu, who is a core member of the duck community. And, he heard me just tell Giu to shut up, etc. like that. Not because I'm mean, because we just so comfortable that we know how to play with each other and have fun and make jokes. And we really get intimate with each other in all the right ways. And it's just been literally a second home. You know, the pond is my home in that sense, and I don't have another community like that. So shout out to the friend who showed me this when it was basically launched, and I have not left, and I will not anytime soon.
Well, we appreciate you having you here in the space and everything as well. Like, I mean, it's been pretty awesome having you guys throughout the crypto spaces, all things considering, and having you guys a big part of the community. And we always appreciate you guys having us on your meme coin spaces as well. Where did the idea come up with for you and Crypto Ken to start your crypto space together? And what's your overall intent behind it?
Yeah, I'll really just say dumb luck, really. Artemis kind of gave his story on to how he even started to kind of make his way in the space, or, start to get a little bit of following, was just from him randomly jumping on a space, speaking, and people liking what he said. I believe he actually came into one of my spaces just for a project, I want to say. And he came up as a speaker, for one of the projects, or, speaking with someone on one of the projects. I just liked what he said, liked his energy. And we kind of just chatted from there. And then I brought him on as a co-host. But the spaces themselves, I started those, I would say, a few months before Artemis came on as the co-host. And the main thing for me was just trying to support good people in the space. People that I've either known for a while, or people that are highly vouched to me from other people that I've known in the space for a while, and just trying to give somebody, a space to speak, an added space to get a little extra awareness. And like I said, that's why I don't charge for them. We typically run them 3 to 4 hours or so every Tuesday. So, when we do those, I try to get as many projects as I can. And pretty much the recurring theme that people will see from them is, it's all hardworking people. I don't really care where the market cap is at. We've had $80,000, dollar market caps. We've had, $30 million market caps. I don't really care about that. What I care about most is the effort from the team, the safety of the project, and then, of course, having a good narrative, having support behind it, etc. But yeah, the intention of them really is just to support good people in the space and give them somewhere to kind of put their vision out there.
That's beautiful, man. Well, it's, a lot of these spaces, they can be very degen, in order to do sponsorships, you got to give a whole bunch of soul to the team. So kudos to you guys for just wanting to create a platform where you can promote people.
Dude, I hate the joke that I make enough money in this space, I don't need to take it from them.
Lucky him, huh? Bro, dude, hey, Zabo, I gotta be honest with you. There's so many people that I think just because they might see you hosting or co-hosting, in my case, in the space, and I think they just see you in certain groups and certain networks that they think you're loaded or something like that. I have no problem quasi-doxing myself in this sense. I am not a rich cat, okay? Not even in the in fact, I talk about that shit in Doug, and I try to tell people, like, dog, I am not that guy. They're thinking, hey, can you please drop a 30 clip soul or something like that? Sir, 30 soul clip? I barely have 2 soul right now to even invest or gamble with. Like, I'm just not that guy. But again,
so you're saying it's not a clip. So you don't got a clip, you got a piece.
Bro, man, I got a piece.
Go clip 0.3 soul right now. Come on, man, pull up the charts.
I can do 0.3, man, but it's just, I don't know, man. It's just fucking funny, man. It's just funny to me, this whole entire thing. And I gotta be honest with you, here's another thing that actually I wanted to touch on this just slightly again too, because again, as someone new, it was a bit of a shock to me, but I was a little bit annoyed coming into memes, seeing the lack of creativity at times. Like, of course, just like music, just like paintings, just like whatever, you're always gonna have people that you will probably never see or recognize in your life that are creating original stuff. Okay, cool. But memes are a little bit different in the sense that there's an attachment of finance and social clout to it that's just kind of how it goes, right? And I remember when I was maybe 4 or 5 months into the space, if you remember, the whole with hat narrative kept running, right? And for like a solid couple months, I could not get by without seeing some animal with a hat, a fedora, a beanie, or just something like that. And it started getting to me. Yeah, it started getting to me, man, because I'm like, dude, there are millions of things that these people could be doing. Now, again, slightly naive cat of me, because I understand that, sometimes derivatives or running on a certain meta or narrative, it really helps. And especially if you are a true creator or an artist or offer some type of unique perspective, it doesn't matter if you adhere to a certain meta as long as you put your soul into it and you make it unique on its own. So I get that wholeheartedly. I would never disagree with that. But I don't know, it just got to a point, Zabo, where I was like, dude, where's the original ideas at? There's current events going on right now, even in sports or in film or something like that, where someone could twist this on its head. But instead, I just kept running into another animal with the hat. So it just bothered me. But that's why I also love Doug, was because they actually had a legitimate storyline. And, that's kind of where I come from, is the storyteller aspect. It's the filmmaking aspect. So the fact that I could actually sink my teeth into looking forward to see what Doug actually does. But on top of that, seeing the beautiful Lord's work in terms of the art. And then on top of that, the community to actually have fun with in the VC and look forward to these things with. That's the difference for me. That's when the gumbo sits right. That's when you have all the active ingredients to actually get shit popping. So, I was troubled at first. Now I'm a little bit better, but it was still kind of annoying.
It's funny you say that. Like, derivatives are a huge thing in the crypto space. And right when Doug the Duck got launched, we were seeing a ton of Matt Fury meme derivatives, because Brett was going off. Everybody was launching, different Matt Fury memes on all of the chains. And it all ended up seeing like, big liquidity grabs. And then people were creating these Matt Fury derivatives. This is, around the same time like Doug the Duck was going on, like Ducky came up, and Ducky was Brett's long lost, friend from the gang. Right. And in a lot of different ways, like I looked at Doug the Duck and I saw that they were kind of running this anti Matt Fury kind of theme, where they were beating up Brett and they were beating up all of the different Matt Fury memes, and they were going after all of the other good meme coins of the cycle, and ultimately, like building a narrative around trying to say that we were forgotten about and we're going to beat up all these coins and bring them back to Pond to kind of hang out with us. And our comic book series really emulates that a lot, right? So our comic book series, we've been launching that every 2 weeks right now. And we always follow that up with a YouTube series. And I don't know if you guys have seen our YouTube subscriber counts right now, but I'm pretty sure that we just hit 40,000 subscribers on YouTube, which with regard to a cryptocurrency project, I think you'd be hard pressed to find cryptocurrency influencers that have that amount of subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. And, definitely if you're trying to look into other tokens, it's not something that's highly utilized. But if people remember from the 2021 bull run, YouTube was a very, very big part of crypto at that time. Of course, you still had crypto Twitter, but crypto Twitter wasn't what it is now. And YouTube was actually very big because, like you said before, meme coins weren't such a focal point. So there's a lot more utility projects, and it's a lot easier to break those utility projects down on YouTube.
Yeah, so actually I just looked through and I was wrong at 40,000 subscribers, guys. We're actually at 49.4. We are very close to hitting.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too.
Somebody was telling me it was almost 50K not too long ago.
Yeah, no, it's close to 50K. And for a lot of listeners that are out there, we've got a lot of hours watched. We are very quickly closing in on YouTube monetization. So we've already hit the subscriber count. And right now we're getting to the hourly watched. And once you hit that YouTube monetization, they start putting ads on all your videos, and your income can start to fly. So, I've been looking around doing a little bit of research, but for people that have upwards of 50,000 subscribers on YouTube, they're raking in anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000 per month in income from monetization and from advertisements on all their videos. And you look across our videos, like some of our original comic book videos that kind of replay the comic book series. Some of those have upwards of 200 to 250,000 views. I think you look across all of our videos and all of our stuff on YouTube, and we've got well over 1 million views. So once we hit that hourly quota, the amount of money that's going to bring into the project is really what we've been shooting for.
20 to 30K a month?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I know that YouTube tax is crazy, but nonetheless, that is insane. I didn't even think that numbers like that existed anymore ever since the whole reactor wave. And I know that whole thing with the PewDiePie and, the monetization wasn't quite the same or something like that. But Jesus Christ. I guess it really, well, yeah, but the view count is actually what matters though, I guess, right? Because the advertising and stuff like that. So I guess that is more important than just quote unquote having 50,000 subscribers but only getting like 500 views per video. So yeah, that makes
that's
sense.
The big thing, right? And that's what you see across a lot of these influencers is they're only getting 1,500 to 2,500 views, and even though they're getting the subscriber counts and the hours watched, that's the amount of views that they're getting on their video are ultimately not equating to enough money. So because obviously at the end of the day, the amount of views is what's important, because that's what draws people to the advertisements on the side of the screen, and that's where the monetization aspect comes into. So beyond the subscriber count, it comes down to the views, and we're happy that we posted, I think, episode 10 this last week, I want to say, and episode 10 6 days ago posted is already at 40,000 views. So I mean, just to have that amount of views and stuff, I think you look across the spectrum and there really isn't any other cryptocurrency project that's getting anywhere near that.
So because it's YouTube, I already said a few bad words, quote unquote. Did I ruin it for us because of the?
Oh, hell no!
All right, okay.
This shit's degen, bro.
All right, good. All right, okay. Hey, guys, happy fucking Friday. All right. Sorry, I'm gonna say that. Hey, Ken, happy fucking Friday, man. I know Ken's been fucking happy all week because of the situation.
Oh, it's been an exciting week, that's for sure. But I mean, like for instance, here's the crazy thing that I think. You look up Ponke right now. You search Ponke on YouTube. The top hits on all of those videos, you're seeing 500 views, 2,100 views, maybe 4.5 thousand views for some of the biggest influencers and whatnot. Ponke does have their own YouTube page, right? And if you go to that Ponke Soul YouTube page, I'm looking right now, their subscribers are only 3.7 thousand, with their highest, views on some of their stuff only getting as much as 5,500 views. And I have to say, just here, once again, this goes back to how amazing our team is. We've got an expert marketing team that works on, search engine optimization and optimization within YouTube. That's why we're getting into so many of these different feeds and garnering so many different views. A lot of it has to do with, our marketing team. So that's got to be bullish for a lot of people if you're listening. Yes, Doug the Duck has about 10 times more subscribers on YouTube than Ponke, and on average we're getting 50 times more views on our videos. That's bullish. If we were sitting on Spaces right now, Crypto Ken would be throwing out the train horn.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is bullish though, and I mean, that's the thing when you look at Doug is, yes, it may be a meme coin, but it's a meme coin that you can actually look at technicals on. And I don't mean technicals in a sense of just the chart. I mean, obviously you can look at the chart, you can see the floor, you can see where the support is, liquidity zone, whatever you want to call it. But when I'm talking about technicals, this is a project that was able to lose their Twitter account and not be hurt from it because of how diverse they are on social media.
No, I agree, and it's a great thing that you bring that up, because I always like to bring that up. When Trump was coming back to Twitter and he did the first space with Elon, they were getting so much activity into the spaces that it was literally blowing up their feeds. And in order to try to stymie that, they were banning basically any type of accounts that were spamming and doing any types of comments on the videos. So a lot of people look at a lot of our videos and they think, wow, that's degen. They're right on the borderline of like getting banned on any other social media platform. So that must be why they got kicked off. But in fact, we got kicked off due to really just a mass. We just got caught up in a mass ban wave, and we lost our account for upwards of a week. But once again, this team, we're taking the different approach of reaching out to a lot of different social medias. We're on YouTube, we're on Instagram. We got 25,000 followers on Instagram, almost 50,000 followers on TikTok. We've got our Telegram has over 7,000 people. In fact, our Twitter, which is almost at 6,000 followers right now, completely organic, is actually probably one of our lowest follower counts, I think, amongst all of our social medias. So in a lot of different ways, like, we're taking the approach that like there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be onboarded onto crypto, and within the marketing scheme of things, like, people need to see you 5 to 10 times before they buy. And I think what's going to happen is there's going to be a lot of people coming in that have never been in the crypto space. They don't know where to look for projects. They don't know how to scope out projects, but they're going to have seen Doug the Duck either on one of these social media outlets, and for that reason, I think it's going to be one of the first things that they buy as we really start going into up only season for the rest of this quarter and next quarter going into the summer, which is when we're probably going to start to see kind of the top side of this overall crypto cycle.
Dude, the Instagram one was interesting to me because Instagram is probably, I want to say was at this point, that was like my thing. Just because Twitter videos often got recycled over there, TikTok videos would often get recycled in there. And just because, it was pictures, it was a little bit more artistic than the rest. And in terms of like, you got pictures and videos and all that, and they were kind of doing it first. And I rarely look anything. In fact, I don't at all look at anything crypto related on Instagram. And I think it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago where I actually followed somebody for the first time that had anything to do with crypto. And it was just because they became kind of a close peer of mine. But the fact that Doug is actually on there and there is traction there kind of makes me rethink how I might go about doing certain things, because it is kind of gotten to a normie stage at this point. I mean, well, I guess technically I may have been a normie at one point. Maybe I still am. But
we're not the normies of this cycle. We got in early enough to be the...
That's the thing. We were all normies at one point, and that's why, like, for me personally, I try to take the time. Like, I've noticed recently a lot more normies coming in, for lack of a better word, normies coming into the space and people asking a lot of questions and stuff like that. And I really feel like, the guys that were here from last cycle, the guys that have the experience, don't be too arrogant and take the time to help these people learn, because that's what's really going to grow the space the right way. When they're getting their advice from people that don't care about anything but to use them for exit liquidity, the space probably isn't going to grow at the same rate as if you have actual people who have been there, who understand what it's like and want to give them proper advice.
I think that's some great points. I mean, honestly, I have been doing a lot at the end of the day, like, I was in on cryptocurrency. I was buying cryptocurrencies at the bottom, but I was really doing it on centralized exchanges. I was buying a lot of the majors. I bought, tons of Sol, under $20, $8, $20, $30 until it started to explode. And I haven't put in an additional dime into cryptocurrency from my bank account probably in the last, I want to say year and a half almost. I've just been letting it ride. And I know Artemis made the joke earlier that everybody must think that, like, my bags are heavy and, like, I've made a ton of money and stuff. Like, what I've made this crypto cycle has definitely already exceeded my expectations, just even up to the point of the halving. I got married this last year. I bought a new house, and a lot of the proceeds for my wedding and my honeymoon, as well as buying my house, all came from different gains on different Solana memes. Doug the Duck being one of the ones that I'm holding because I know that there's still amazing heights to be had. But I just hit the 6-figure level. I'm not a 7-figure guy. And I'm very happy kind of like with where I'm at and stuff. And I've been actively trying to onboard more and more people before we really see that huge spike, because I don't want to see those people coming in super late and losing out on the opportunity. Like, I've got friends that have got credit card debt, and I'm like, dude, just throw a little bit. Like the way I like to onboard, man, is I like to bring a friend in. I like to help him set up a Solana wallet. I'm going to throw him upwards of about $500 to $1,000 of my favorite memes. I'm going to show him the rope, show him how to trade Jupiter, show him how to get into crypto Twitter, and then let him kind of like start to enjoy it on a risk-free scenario. And one of my buddies is basically already 3 and 4x the money that I gave him, and he's already 50% of the way to getting that credit card paid off that he wanted to. And that opportunity wouldn't have come without crypto memes, you know? And so it's really creating a lot of different opportunity, especially for people that are in the Gen Y and the Gen Z and millennial ages, if you will. This is our opportunity to shine. This is our opportunity to make money. Like baby boomers, you know, they made their money on their houses. The Gen X and stuff, they made their money through the stock market, riding that for the last 20 years. And we lost out on those opportunities. And now we're coming in on the top, and essentially baby boomers and Gen Xers, they're using us as exit liquidity. So like crypto is ours. And in a lot of different ways, the blockchain technology, which is what I really try to explain to people when they get onboarded into cryptocurrency. I'm like, these are not speculative memes. You need to understand the blockchain to understand the value. And I was having a beer with a client yesterday, and I got him to download Coinbase because he's like, I've got all this cash sitting and I don't know what to do with it. I don't want to buy real estate. I don't want to get into the top of the market. And I just don't know what to do. And I'm like, dude, you could throw US dollars into USDC and make 5% yield just for it sitting there rather than sitting in your bank account at 0.5% yield. And then obviously talk to him about Bitcoin and explaining to him that like Bitcoin is to Google what blockchain is to the internet. And for him, he's like, nobody never explained it to me like that. Like, that makes sense. Like, this blockchain wave is going to change finances across the world forever. And we're still part of the 1% that's just getting into it early.
Yeah, I was just explaining that to somebody this morning, saying, you know, even just, I mean, they, like I said, you know, normies coming into the market, not understanding anything about it, never has touched crypto, doesn't really understand the purpose of it. And, you know, even just to kind of put it simply, like when you talk about, you know, changing finance, I mean, a big thing when you look at that, and you mentioned USDT and getting yield from that. That's something that, you know, I think is a smart way of being able to tell someone you have almost no risk on the, you know, on the downside, and you can accumulate some on the upside, not really have to deal with the volatility of the market. But, you know, just crypto itself, payment rail system alone, when you think about the fact that if you wanted to go through your bank to transfer your buddy in the UK some money through a wire transfer, it'll take 2 to 3 days for it to get to him. If it's above even, say, $10,000, then you're going to have to file a form, and they're going to have to ask for the reasoning of the transfer. You have to get permission from the bank to be able to send your money to this person, and then it takes 2 to 3 days for them to actually receive it. If you're doing it on the Solana blockchain, no central authority can tell you what to do, and they can have that money in about a second.
Like I said, my friend was absolutely astonished. Like, it's already in my account. That's what he said. He's like, the memes are already in my wallet. Like, that is fast.
Dude, this is why that's why I love talking to people. I actually had to take some notes down just so in case I didn't forget, right? First of all, Zabo, you said, you know, you got married, etc., right? And I don't know if you mentioned right after that, you said the proceeds went somewhere?
Well, so I guess the proceeds of my cryptocurrency went towards my wedding. So I think I had I went overboard. I had a $50,000 wedding. All in all, I'm pretty sure I bought my wife a beautiful 1.5 carat diamond ring to the tune of $20,000. My honeymoon was in Hawaii. That cost me over 10 G's, and her and I just upgraded the home, and that was another $50,000. And I'd been steadily and I urge this to everybody, that you should be steadily pulling money out and using it to help build out your actual real life as you go. And I've probably pulled $60,000 to $75,000 out of the market to just improve lifestyle, pay off debts, pay for the wedding, pay for this, that, and the other. And a lot of those different things have helped me advance in life and advance my family. And that's what it's all about. And like I said, I'm still sitting here today at 6 figs and we're going right into the bull cycle, and I don't even know what I'm going to do with the money that I raised at this point. It's now I'm thinking about like, what am I going to do to pay off after I pay off the last remaining debts? Like I don't have any student loans anymore. I'm a professor in college. I've got my master's in engineering. I don't have hardly any debt anymore. So now I'm thinking like, do I donate back to my school? What do I do with this money? I'm not a guy that, lives too much above their means. I live within my means, and it's when this money starts kind of flowing in like it has been and stuff, I'm losing ways of what to do with it. So Artemis, you said you needed a couple of soul. Send me your wallet address, man. Let me shoot you over some Dane.
See, that ain't about to happen. But so look, right? Because this is where it's going to get ridiculous, right? Because the reason why, first of all, I just want to say this. Doug helped me when I was down bad around the summer to help with groceries. Okay, so I just want to let people know that Doug the Duck actually does save lives. He is kind of a slight Superman to me. But why I said the proceeds thing was, me and Ken are Drake fans. He's a really, really big Drake fan. And Drake loves his subliminals, his double/triple/quadruple entendres. And I'm thinking, Ken, proceeds to go into the wedding so he can proceed to proceeds at some point, right? So all I'm saying is, Drake, you might want to say that. And I'm telling you, I was like stuck on that for a minute, but I want to say this as well.
You're a rapper by craft, aren't you?
Maybe not successfully.
Me and The Weeknd, we share a similar lineage. But that being said, though, sorry, Ken. That being said was, when you mentioned it's sometimes hard to get people to really understand what to do with their money, especially if they're not in their crypto and you're trying to convince them. And that is and I'm not even saying that on a superficial level. For example, if someone really doesn't know about an area, that's simple, naivete, maybe you can teach them, whatever, like, sure. But I'm talking about, you can tell people with all your might sometimes, with all your soul, hey, listen to me, right? No pun intended. Literally listen to what I'm saying. And until they either, one, experience a level of that understanding themselves, they simply will not get it, because sometimes it's just that deep, or sometimes they don't want to. And one example is this. How many times when you were younger, or, college or all that, whatever like that, but older people will say, hey, enjoy your time, love every second, right? Make it count. Until you're actually at that stage where you're starting to have regrets about time, you will not understand that, bro. You just simply will not. I mean, to this day, I clearly understood many things about time. I acknowledged it. Time was a mortal enemy of me ever since I was 12 years old. I was always like, man, I'm going to be 13 soon, 14 soon, 15 soon, very cerebral, very philosophical at that point. And I was fucking myself up. But I remember I was a freshman in college, and there was this girl I met on this little party bus. It wasn't a party bus, it was a general bus, but in this specific moment at night, it was a party bus. And, she liked my shorts I had on. They were cool shorts. I had some J's on, whatever like that. And she was like, man, don't ever change. I like your style, something like that, whatever. And she said, we were having a conversation. She was like, really, really make use of every second, every minute. And as someone who's always been fearful of that time, and probably because of that, I gave way to this, just because of all the anxiety and the obsessive thinking. But I got to the point where here I am approaching my junior year, and I'm going, fuck, already junior year. And then 2 weeks into junior year, I'm 2 weeks into junior year. And so that whole aspect of making the time count and having regrets, which sometimes it's not really regret, it's just you're thinking about it hindsight and retrospectively and whatnot. But truly, it's hard to get people to really understand. And even me, there's coins that my friends will go, dude, what are you doing, Artemis? I've told you for 7 months to get into this thing. And I just didn't, because we're humans. We're built on convenience. We're built off selfishness sometimes. We're built off just, nonsense. And sometimes you just don't care and whatnot. And really, I want people to just take heed sometimes when people are literally shaking you in the head going, dude, are you listening to me or not? Just pay attention just a little bit more than you might need to, especially in this space, because, as Ken mentioned, I think maybe you alluded to it again, Zab, and I want to ask you guys this too, but how many percentage of the people in the space actually give a fuck about you? Truly, it's a selfish space. It's not, let's keep it a stack. People want to make money. they're not wrong for doing it, but
Brian, you're probably your own little bubble, and I think you got to be a little bit careful within your own little bubble too, because like you never really know if the people that are sharing plays with you, if they're secretly selling on the side and they're using you as exit liquidity and being two-faced and friends to your face and then selling on you in the background. Like it's hard to know that, and it's hard to trust that. And I think it takes time to build up a community of people, and throughout that time that it takes to build up a community, like there's people that are going to fall out of your channels, and there's going to people that are going to join your channels. And I think that's probably one of the most important part of investing too, is having a savvy group of investors that you can trust that are helping you find good projects to invest in. And anybody that's out there, like, you know, on this grind by themselves, trying to make it, like, you're doing it with one hand tied behind your back. You know, it's hard to make it in this crypto world just by yourself. So I urge everybody that's out there to find your own small community of people that you can trust within this really untrustable space, to be able to help you through this cycle.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, to give, you know, some credit on what you were saying, you know, I completely agree with that. I've been in this space now, I don't know, 3.5 years almost. I've been full-time in this space now 2.5 years. You know, it's all I do all day, every day. I was here every single day through the bear market. And, you know, I agree 100%. It's hard to find a lot of trusted people. You know, I do have a private room that I run through people I've met over, you know, almost 4 years of experience in the space. And I still only have, I don't even know, 60 some odd people. And even out of those 60 some odd, there's probably I'd say about half the group is probably like my closest people. So from, you know, 4 years of experience, I'd say there's about 20 some odd, maybe 30 people that I could even say I actually fully trust.
I mean, it's 100% right, man. And I know there's a lot of people that are here listening in the space that are taking some tips and tricks and stuff for what you do. Crypto, Ken, I heard you just kind of say that you've been doing crypto full time now for approximately 2.5 years. What has been that transition like? What did you do for work maybe before? And what has that transition into full-time crypto been like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting ride, you know. So beforehand, I worked for a company for a few years. I was in the construction trade about 5 years, and then I opened my own business. Had a successful business. I enjoyed what I did, but I guess one knock on me just as a person that I've always had, and it depends on which way you look at it, but like my uncle has always told me, you know, like he said the same thing with construction. He's like, you know, yeah, but when are you going to get bored? You know, and that's been the knock on me, is that I will, you know, put my all into things, but then as I don't want to say mastered, because I don't want to sound arrogant, but once I kind of get to the pinnacle, I guess I would say, you know, I was on a big crew running remodels. I was the youngest person on the crew. I still won Craftsman of the Year 2 years in a row. Then I ended up leaving that company, kind of felt maxed out, left that company, ended up starting up my own business, enjoyed that. But through time, you know, I kind of got bored of the repetition and decided to, you know, get into crypto and that venture. So like, that's one thing he always said was, you know, well, you get bored of things and then you move on. And I think more of what it is for me is that after I feel I master something, I get bored with it. I like to continue to be able to grow. I like to continue to be able to learn. You know, I like the grind of learning and getting somewhere. Going from no knowledge to peak knowledge on something is something that interests me. So with crypto, I think that's why even to this day, I love it more than I ever have. There's always something to learn. There's always new innovations. There's always new technology. So regardless of how much you feel like you know or how smart you think you are, there's always something in this space that you don't know. There's always another thing to go and learn. There's always a new thing that comes out that you have to learn. And I think that's what's been, you know, so interesting to me. And I mean, really the transition for it was, a lot of it had to do with the interest. Where Artemis is coming from, you know, on kind of the people side, was something that was very, very interesting to me. You know, yes, I'm American. There's a lot of people from other countries that are here.
But the difference is, I've never really had that opportunity of being able to speak with people in VC spaces, etc., from all different countries, from all different walks of life. That was something that really interested me. And then, of course, just the innovation of the space and, always having to adapt, always having new things coming, just kind of keeping you on your toes at all times. That excites me. So when I made the transition into crypto, I will be honest and say the main reason I made the transition full time, I didn't just do it without having any kind of income. There was a project that I was working for at the time. We raised about $2.3 million in June 2022. And that was when I ended up going full time.
Got it. Well, me and you are so much of the same, man. I came up in the construction world as well. My family had a construction company growing up. That's kind of what I got my degree in. And as a project manager, I was bidding and building $50-60 million multifamily offices, residential buildings. And ultimately got burned out a little bit by it. And like I said, since I've seen the gains that is possible in cryptocurrency, I've actually taken a step back and went into the teaching world, because the teaching world allowed me more time off to be able to engage in this crypto stuff. So I'm not necessarily full-time crypto. What I will say is that the time that I've been allowed to be able to get into the crypto world more by taking a step back from that real life has definitely led to a higher level of enjoyment and stuff, man. You seem so inspirational when you talk, man, and it reminds me of something. I know your name is just Ken, but it reminds me of Kai, the hatchet wielding hitchhiker. No matter what we've done, you deserve respect. Even if you make mistakes, you're lovable. No matter your looks, skills, size, age, or anything, you're worthwhile. No one can ever take that away from you.
Yeah, he was great until he murdered somebody.
Aren't we all?
Oh, man.
Oh,
But yeah, it's a fun space. And I think that's really the main thing for me. There's always different things thrown at you. There's always different things to do, different niches, different groups, recently I had somebody contact me for a project. I won't say a name or anything like that, but I end up getting into a group, talking with the people behind it, pretty good whale group, etc. And I don't know any of the people in that group. I've been in this space 4 years. I know a lot of different people, big name influencers, etc. And it's a whale group with not a single person that I even knew. So, even that right there shows there's always growth. There's always more and more that you can do in this space. And that's what's so exciting to me.
Artemis, we've been leaving you out in the cold here for a while.
No, don't say that.
Are you full-time crypto?
I'm a filmmaker, but I'm full-time crypto in terms of this is how I make my money. And, just because you guys have been really hitting the nail on the head on certain things, I gotta say this, man. It baffles me how so many people, just like in real life, will act like this is not a space run by humans. They'll almost take this weird approach in which they go, oh, now I'm in crypto. Now those same principles and feelings and whatnot that I got from real life interacting with humans are somehow not applicable or something like that. It's really bizarre to me. The idea of socialization, which is, again, something that you would expect people to understand that crypto is built on. It's people interacting with each other and being able to understand each other's visions and projects and stuff like that. And sometimes they'll just kind of dismiss it. They'll dismiss being courteous to people sometimes. They'll dismiss trying to learn. They'll dismiss doing certain things, just like in many industries and institutions at this point. It could be art. It could be whatever. I've just seen it so many times. Humor, for example, is in question in society a lot of the time. And sometimes I feel like that's translated here. I would have thought with the anonymity that people would have been a little bit more creative and unhinged in a great way sometimes, but they're not. But anyway, I don't want to rant too much about that. But yeah, I'm full-time, kind of. Look, man, I live with my parents, dog. What do you want from me? I live with my parents and I write my stories, and I'm just, it is what it is right now. Granted, that's loaded.
I'm not judging, man. I played hockey for a long time, man. So I lived in my parents' house way beyond where I probably should have. So
yeah, man, my thing is low.
I got out of my parents' house as quick as I could.
It sounds like you're the type of person to do that.
Well, Ken, I'm sorry that your parents beat you and you had to get away. So I'm kidding.
Kenny Lee.
Not quite, but yeah, just not the same kind of ambition, drive, etc. It's
Funny because, people look at my parents and I'm not on here to down them or anything, but honestly, they have not done much with their lives. And people ask, where did you get your work ethic? Where did you get your ambition, etc.? My grandmother was 60 years old, still working 2 jobs. She's always been the rock of the family. And honestly, that's where I got my work ethic. That's where I got my drive. She was really my role model. My parents were young parents, so they were more like older brother, older sister, more than an actual parent.
I love what you actually said that. Because it's no, seriously though, because my whole entire life has been centered around my parents to a fault. And again, this is not the time or space where I'm going to go into a huge psychoanalysis, but part of the reason of why I am, I say part, mainly the reason of why I am what I am, how I think, the obsessive mind, the anxiety, the paranoia, all that, the certain imagination, it is because of like this strong need for me to return to a time to when I was simply my parents' son, that kid, and just for me to almost like validate how well they raised me and how fun and how golden life was. And so it's almost like me trying to find ways where I can still kind of feel like a kid, aka, I'm living in the house with them at the moment, although technically I did move out a little bit last year to New York for a few months. But it's just, I don't know, like this space is really funny because it's almost been one of those things like Xbox or whatever, where I can talk to people and kind of be myself and get out there, but it keeps me from actually having to commit to anything, such as making a YouTube channel or like going to find something else to do. But the funny thing is, because crypto is about money, it's given me like tangible, actual money and goals to work for in the sense of it's actually allowed me to grow up a little bit. It's actually helped me kind of boost my my fear of potentially kind of like leaving the bird's nest. And it's going, look, you're making money. Soon you'll be able to be kind of quote unquote independent, and then the real growth can start from there. I fell in love in the space a couple weeks ago. Did you know that?
With a girl?
Yes.
Or, wait, am I allowed to ask that? As if it's a girl or a boy?
Yeah, please. I fell in love. I did. She doesn't know.
She doesn't know.
No.
Who is it? Tell me. We gotta get the name out here.
I cannot. All right, I cannot. But I have fallen in love potentially, and I don't care if it's reciprocated at this point.
It's kind of like that hot girl at high school. Like, does she know you like her?
I do not know. Oddly enough, there was actually a situation like that in my high school where it ended up actually happening. The new arrived hot girl actually ended up getting with Artemis. I didn't actually do anything with her. I got my first kiss in college, actually, when I was 18. Yeah, no, seriously, all we did was just text with each other, and that's kind of what fucked it up, to be honest with you. But anyway, I digress. This space is funny, all right? It's a funny space, and I think people should just really understand where they're at sometimes, and that's a place with other humans. So, never ever dismiss the fact that you're here with other humans, goddammit.
Well, I think it's a good point, man. It's everybody that's hiding behind a PFP is a human being at the end of the day, and I follow the golden rule: do unto others as you would want done unto you. So, in that being said, don't full clip your bags. DCA out, be kind to the charts, be kind to your fellow community members, right? We're all people here. We're getting to the end of our space. I want to take kind of like the last 5 minutes to maybe give both of you an opportunity to tell me what makes a good meme.
Oh, dude, that's funny you said that. I was actually going to ask you and Ken, what do you guys think the most important part of a meme was? But Ken, you go ahead and start it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it starts with community, but I think the main thing is having a message that people relate to. So either, a viral meme, obviously that's picking up, steam on Twitter, on TikTok, etc. or just something that people relate to. So like with Doug, of course, you know, the backstory is something that people relate to. Obviously in this cycle, content is much more important than what it was before, where kind of in last cycle, people were able to just kind of do gimmicks, I guess I would say. You know, have a famous person come on to a VC and the token would go parabolic, show up to a crypto summit and the token would go parabolic. You know, kind of things like that, where now in this cycle, those things have all been done. So people have to kind of get, you know, get a little bit more creative. But I would definitely say those are probably the three biggest things. Obviously, everybody knows, and that's the, you know, the lame answer, I guess I would say, is a community. But when you listen to the way that Artemis talks about Doug's community, obviously it shows it is different. You know, I've been in this space a long time, and I can say that there's not very many communities that are like that. When you go into a community and you see people in there just chatting, not talking about the chart, not talking about the price, but just chatting with each other about personal things and, you know, how their day's going and, you know, what did they eat for dinner last night and stuff like that. Typically, you know that you're in a pretty good community. And that's why, you know, even when it was on the lows, Doug never really had those issues of other projects. And really looking at a lot, I know some people say, oh, I know this community that's better, this community that's better, or this one that's more active. I can guarantee you that you are not going to find another community that is as good as Doug's at the same market cap. If there is other communities that are more active and better and this and that, I bet you they are at least at a $50 million market cap or higher.
I agree, man. Hidden gem. How about you, Artemis? What makes a good meme for you?
I just put a couple of popcorn kernels in my mouth just to kind of get a little rush. And actually, Zabo, you're not going to get off that easy because I have a question for you at the end, actually. A very Artemis-like question. And it's actually going to kind of connect to what I'm about to say. But this is one of those rare opportunities where you asked me that question, and I feel like I'm not even answering it as a person in crypto. I'm answering it as Artemis, a storyteller and a guy who loves film and life, whatever. And my answer is very easy, but it's very, very layered. And that's story. Story, 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 story. A lot of people in the world, you know, when you say, hey, you know, I just watched a good movie, man. I like the way the story was. And they usually don't even know what they're talking about. They may really be referring to the plot, or they may be doing vice versa, yada, yada, yada. But the point I'm making with this is plot is the movement of events. Story is why you're actually watching something. Right? It's the soul. It's the journey. It is character. And in this case, I guess you can characterize that as community. And Ken said it too with message. If you don't have a real reason why you're making something and it's potent to the point where it's able to, you know, you're able to plant the seed and let it grow, then I think you're going to fail, because there's tons of ideas that I've seen that have incredible concepts. They have incredible staff. They got an artist that can do this and whatever like that. They didn't really have a reason why they launched it. You know, they just had the tools, but they didn't really have a legitimate reason. You have to have a reason for doing stuff. And I said this on Spaces the other day, but I know tons of musicians with great technical knowledge and great ability to play different notes and combos and whatever like that. But what I would rather listen to more than them, especially if they don't really have any soul behind why they're doing it, I would rather listen to the guy who lives in the mountainside near a forest, who made his own guitar from wood and strings that he gathered, and he creates his own songs listening to the birds as he travels to grab water from the pond, you know. And there's Doug, by the way, because I know that there's nowhere else in the world I'm going to be able to get that song. Whereas with these guys, sure, some of them may just genuinely be students and passionate about their craft, and because of that, they can make great music. Okay, cool. But that guy is going to give you something that no one else in this world is going to give you, because no one lives his circumstances. If I'm making a film, I'm only going to make a film that is literally coming from my soul, and it exists because I exist. And I get it. Memes are there to make money. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Sure. But you can keep that away from me, to be honest with you. What I want are people that legitimately are making something because it came to them in a way that it came to nobody else. And again, don't confuse this with being extremely crazy, unique, and stuff like that. You can have an animal, you can have a cat coin, but why you made that cat coin? Was it because you had a cat that did a specific thing and you found it derpy and cute and you want to share that with the world? Or do you somehow connect the cerebral aspect to the CAD? Or do you have this connection with like the ancient Egyptians and you have this crazy idea that you think would material? Like there's just certain unique notions that you have to have sometimes. And to me, it's all about story. That's what story is. It's why you're doing it. If you have no journey, then no thank you. Because if you have no journey, then try to convince me, try to translate your vision to me, and it'll be very, very hard. I may be able to get it to an extent, but there is thousands and thousands, millions of people over here that are not going to take the time to look into every single little detail. No siree. They're going to be looking for something quick. And with Doug, it was so easy. It's so easy for people to really understand. And, you know, when you ask people in the community, hey, what is Doug? When they're able to just answer on a fly and they're offering you a unique perspective, but it all is coming around to that same central concept, that's when you know you have something real. So if you have a real story, a real storyline, congratulations. If you have a bunch of plot and a bunch of workers that are just top of the notch, but you don't know why you're actually over there, you're missing a director, buddy. And if you're missing the director, then good luck making the movie, buddy.
That always reminds me of the why. You know, like I don't know if you've ever seen that Simon Sinek video, his TED talk of, you know, the why people buy things, the why somebody goes and builds something. But it's important to understand at your core why you're doing something.
Yes, exactly. And Zabo, just because I wasn't going to let you get off that easy. Ken, I got to do it, man. I got to do it. Zabo, give me your top 3 favorite movies right now.
Oh, okay.
Right now, favorites, pure favorites, not what you think is the best. It's from your heart. These are the 3 that you will never betray. These are your 3 right here. Or 5, I don't care.
Number 1 is Slapshot, because I'm a big hockey guy, and that original hockey movie was so degen that made my entire life degen, and that's where it all started. The next one is probably Wedding Crashers. Absolutely love Wedding Crashers. I think it's a hilarious movie, lots of comedy, great storyline. And my third one is a little bit trickier, and I'm trying to really think, because there's so many that can fill that third, you know, kind of aspect. Like I'm a huge Lord of the Rings guy, I'm a huge Harry Potter guy, but those are series. You can't really pick one from that. I have to go with, you know, maybe a movie that's a little bit controversial. It's probably like maybe Fight Club. I watched that the other day and just stuck with me once again.
Ooh, the number 1 rule of Fight Club is
You fucked it up. Unbelievable.
You know what? If nobody talked about Fight Club, it would never grow, and it wouldn't be a cult fucking movie that is.
Nah, but you're right though. And I always say this, Zabo, because I know that for some reason, and there's some people that genuinely love film, but maybe it's just edgy in the presentation. They just can't really get behind it. Like it's not as digestible as some of Fincher's other works. But I always say this. My favorite Fincher movie is The Social Network. The quintessential Fincher movie is Seven, but I think his most masterful aspect of directing has to be Fight Club. When you make the author of the book go, yeah, that movie's better than my book. I mean, that is ma creme de la creme, because that is amazing. But no, I mean, that's an incredible movie, and it's a very important movie. And I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot more memes, especially with the normies coming in, you know, kind of from the film world as well, because, you know, crypto finance, you know, individualism, breaking the chain, society, stuff like that. And I mean, dude, that's a fantastic treat. I'm always asking people this. I got to do it.
It's so hard, man, because I'm such a huge movie buff and I got a photographic memory. So like I'm one of those guys that like random conversations come up and it reminds me of a quote. I'm throwing the quote out. And I'm like looking across the room like, did anybody get that? Did anybody get that quote? And of course, my wife's not a big movie buff, so it just falls on deaf ears all the time, which sucks. But
oh, dude, trust me, we're gonna be having some combos, man. dude, hop in the Doug VC, and dude, we'll get into it, because
I gotta get in more. Man, real life's been crazy. I know when things start to slow down here after the holidays, it's gonna be a big time for me. But
fantastic.
That is about all that we've got time here for today. I wanted to mention again, Ken Artemis. I absolutely love your spaces. Love having you guys in the VC. I think what you guys are doing in the space to promote other projects is absolutely amazing, and it was an absolute treat to have you here today.
Give yourself a round of applause, Ken. This is for you.
Definitely was nice having being able to be here, I should say. And after about a month of chasing Vader up, we made it up here. So I think persistence pays off again, sir.
List, man, you were always on our list. That's the damn sure.
The captain, the masturbator, as we call him in the duck community. And I'm gonna be going back to that community probably right after this. I know Giu, who's been in the
they open up a VC. I got time, bro. I got an hour to kill. Open up a VC.
Oh,
well, if you're looking to meet the community, and if you're looking to get into the Doug the Duck, some of our best chads are gonna. It sounds like they're gonna be creating a VC right after this. So come in, join our Telegram, follow us on Twitter, and hopefully we see you mother duckers here around our spaces soon enough.
Great job hosting, Zabo.
We're gonna have to run this back on like the 98th episode or something like that, or maybe the 100th special. We get all the great guests and just have a round table. I don't know, Zabo. I'm sorry, I'm just rambling, but I love the Dougs.
Awesome. Well.
Days of queuing in a row. The biggest names in the DeFi space. Black, white, and yellow. Guests from every race. So hands off your dick. It's now you're in love. We're talking crypto daily with a big pump duck. Big duck energy. Let's make thanks fast. Come chill with us here on the Pondcast.